Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Manufactio. This is going to be episode 63. Some things have happened. Some stuff, as we all know, has changed. I'm going to start this episode off a little bit differently than we normally do. We're sitting at the normal white screen, and I kind of wanted to go over the changes before we jumped into World and see what's going on. So I'm going to hope that this little thing that I set up is going to do what I wanted it to do. So click. And we're over here looking at the changelog on Golrith's Discord for what happened in version 1.32. Yes, there's going to be a few things that are probably still broken, but let's go over some of the stuff. The biggest thing that's going to be changed is that he finally got to update the Pollutions of the Realms mod because of how much just configuration changes he made. A bunch of custom configs to make the Pollution of the Realms mod, work with what we're doing here. So the biggest issue that we had prior with the Pollution of the Realms was the fact that the pollution pumps, which I think is a completely separate mod, didn't have a breaking value for the pumps and for the pipes. So if you accidentally hit them with your hand, you broke it and lost it. So that was a bug, and that bug has been fixed. So it now requires a pickaxe to break. So let's go through some of the other things that have changed. So pollution realms have been updated. Pollution filters now are going to work completely differently and are totally automatable now without any fancy silliness, and that's something we will look into once we get to it. So the heavy duty filter, because of that, the big one has been removed. So we now have basic filters that are available, basic carbon filters that are available very early game. So we'll look at that as well. Burner and electric drills now only pollute when they're actively mining. This is a big deal because this has been a complaint for a really long time, and my mouse is being silly. Electric drill pollution levels have been increased because of that. So that's what's going on here. Something that you guys need to be paying attention to early game, I suppose. The big deal is right in here. The next big deal, I should say, is right in here where he changed the way early game is for this mod pack now. So early game, it used to be you could handcraft a lot of various parts and pieces to get to where you needed to go. So that is no longer. That stuff has now been changed, removed. Those recipes are gone in order to encourage more automation early on in game than people sitting there continuously trying to handcraft, whatever science it requires to get to blue and then on through. So a lot of the early game, early easy stuff is now gone, thanks to all of you players that just sat there and handcrafted hundreds upon thousands of science early game instead of automating it. So thank you for that. But anyhow, all of the 3x3 recipes for wires, red science, and other things have been removed to encourage early game automation. As a result, the following changes have been made. Of course, the intro quest line has been changed. We will look at those when we get there. The metal forming crafting time has been doubled, but it also has a few more recipes that can be crafted quickly into a one-use capsule, which means we can craft the metal former without any of the parts into a one-use capsule, which is awesome. Red science must be crafted in a basic assembler at the start, meaning there is no more, you can't craft red science or green science anymore, any of that stuff, any of the parts, without automation now. So, again, thank you to all of you that thought you just could sit there and handcraft all of those sciences early, because now it's going to be fun for everyone starting over. Another interesting thing to note that is down into this general area here, which is uranium and titanium are no longer going to generate in the factory 0 or spawn. So that means those are no longer going to be in our way, no longer being a problem, and we won't have to worry about trying to store those two types of things until late game. So for you guys, especially early game, you won't have to worry about it. That means that we're going to have to use the IE excavator to get those, which is not a humongous problem. So that's pretty simple, easy stuff there. The lead, silver, aluminum ore veins have been reduced in size. This is I guess an okay kind of a thing. So chapters, all of this is another interesting thing. The first two main chapters have had the icons showing the research levels required. So that means there's going to be little bitty icons underneath the research, underneath the quest to claim, to show you what you're going to need in order to be able to to be able to get to that section of the quest book. So it's pretty cool. The various mob spawning drones, spawning fixes drones, and Nagas will respect light levels now. This is going to be very, 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 very handy. This is wonderful. A thing that I have at least noticed just playing around testing with this change, this setting, is that these zombies that spawn at higher health but are slower will spawn anywhere. So I'm getting zombies that can't walk all over the place, or excuse me, they don't move very quickly, but they're all over the place. So I'm literally just kind of look at them, walk away from them, and let them despawn. So they're not a humongous problem, and honestly, again, probably just, one of those, however it works. This is another interesting thing here too. The sentry turret that we all kind of said was pretty sucky, the damage has been increased, so it's actually more usable earlier game. So it might be something to be looking into. Again, another one of these things here, standard assembler can now be crafted directly and built using one-use capsules. So that means you don't have to fill a capsule full of all the parts to craft a standard assembler. That is a very, very welcome change. Industrial Renewal is a new mod that has been added mainly for cosmetic blocks, but, and in my major interesting but part here is my interest totally is in the fluid wagon cart that comes with this mod. We will be checking this out. It comes with a fluid loader unloader station, and these carts will work. This is not Railcraft. This is a completely different mod. These carts will work with the cart engines and should work with signals. So that means you can use various things. The carts look pretty cool. I did see some pictures of them, and we're going to be playing around with that a little bit. So for sure, maybe not necessarily in today's episode, but we're going to be messing with them eventually. So the next more things here. Let's see. Basic bins have been removed and replaced with single spot chest. Wonderful. Great. Don't have to worry about this. Vanilla texture users. Tall grass texture has been changed so that it's not 2 blocks high anymore, so you can see through it. I believe the block is still the same height, so it may cause problems for reaching through things, but at least you won't have to look through it. All wires can now be made in the lathe and double the resource efficiency of metal presses. This is a huge thing because that means when you get to that point, you can get rid of all of your metal presses creating wires, and I highly suggest it. Highly, highly, highly suggest it. So very, 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 very good thing for that. Satellite pipes have been introduced or put in for the logistics pipes people that want to use logistics pipes. Configurator recipe has been changed and made available earlier. Not going to say anything. This is a new little interesting thing here too, whereas those of you that are playing the Nether-based map or the Hellworld-based map, you will have an option for lava generation production, and I believe this has been made to the point where those of us that are playing regular overworld games can do this, but we're going to be required to go to the Nether to get some specific parts. I have not checked it out yet. I don't know. It's supposedly a pretty good recipe or pretty good way to make lava comparative lava RF. Anyhow, lots of the chisel blocks have been disabled, mainly the ones that really should not have been available in the first place. Charcoal burn time has been reduced. That's hilarious, but that's okay. I don't really care at this point. He re-added Super Sound Muffler. That's back in. That's awesome. And like I said, as always, probably some more things that he's going to be forgetting about. And again, this is going to be one of those things where you guys are going to want to run the BQ admin default load command in order to get this up, because this is going to change the way things are. So let's get back to, and let's hope this reloads like it's supposed to, our Manufactio and see what happens. So I'm going to load up my Let's Play world, and we're going to see what happens. I already know what happens. It's up and it works. I made sure to preload and get everything set up beforehand, but I will be back when this thing decides it's going to do its full load and I get the world usable. So yeah. Okay, so we are in the world, and there's a few little things that I'm going to have to sort out. I'm pretty sure I've got a couple of other laggy problems right now. The FPS isn't too terribly great right now, but that's probably just something I've got to figure out. So let us take a quick look at the various things that have changed. So I do believe the first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to do the thing there. I think that works. Let's do this just in case. And EQ, admin, default load. Come on. There you go. And then we can check out our quest book. So the quest book is on introduction. This doesn't appear to have changed as much as far as everything else is concerned. Of course, all of this has mostly been claimed. I haven't bothered to do any of this because it's not necessarily important. Factory basics line. This is different now. This is we've done most of this stuff as far as these go, but he has, like I said, made a few changes. So intense melting is the first one now. So that means we're going to, and this is a very important thing, is when you get 3 furnaces made, you're going to get an iron gear. Do not use that iron gear for anything other than the next quest, meaning the metal former. Metal former is going to be how you're going to craft a lot of the early game stuff. So do not use that gear. So let's go ahead and craft that, dude. So metal former comes in a nice little former package, which is pretty cool. And that is going to require an iron gear, which I already have. So I will make an iron or copper block, and I will make an iron block just to get this sorted. I didn't need 2 of them, but whatever. So we'll do that. And there is a metal former package that's pretty cool. So, ding ding. Hopefully, detect. And that'll get us a little bit of redstone. That's pretty awesome, cool. This guy right here, shapeless craft this package into, turn it into a capsule, which can be built in world. So if I do this and that, and I do the thing, I guess we can just place it down right there. You're going to get one of these, as always. And we get our first metal former of the new deal. Now, I'm not using these, but this is something that's very important for you guys early on, because the metal former recipes, this is where you're going to get your wire. See? This is where you're going to get your gears, and this is where you're going to get your pipes. Now, this is a problem already for us, because our factory there's a couple of recipes that I've been using an IE assembler for to craft various things that I can no longer craft in that IE assembler. So I believe my reds, greens, and blues are broken at this point. So we're going to go check out that real quick in this guy. So this assembler here, I was crafting the fluid pipes and the iron, or the conveyor belts prior to this in this assembler, along with the reinforced blast bricks. And as far as I know, conveyors, the only way I can craft conveyor belts now, nope, I need to get out of this thing, hang on a minute. The only way I can craft conveyor belts right now is in a assembler, and that's it. So I'm going to have to go back to an assembler for those. The pipes, of course, as we just saw, are made in a metal former. I don't believe there's any other way of making these, or at least something that's faster. I believe, okay, so we can, now I need to do this button. So I can craft these in an, okay, good. So we can do these in an assembler as well. That's wonderful, because these, that guy right there, well, man, come on, catch up. That, the fluid, or that metal former is not fast enough to keep up with this crafting recipe for these things right here. So that means all of this stuff that I did over here on this side, where all of these little, modules are at, I probably should rip them all out and continue on with the process. That means that I'm going to have to take those 3 recipes and build them in over here on this side, or I'm going to just go ahead and put them upstairs or something. I don't know. I'm going to have to reconfigure the factory, because I really don't feel like tearing all of these assemblers out. And although I guess I don't really need to, I just have to rebuild all of their recipes into what I need them to do, because that will be 3 recipes right there we have to craft in these assemblers. So I may use the first 3 here and move the other ones somewhere upstairs or something like that. But anyhow, let's go look at some more of the changes. Not something that I'm too terribly concerned about right now. The big one for you guys probably to be watching is filters. Filters have changed. Filters are different. Filters are going to be utilized differently. And actually, I should probably go back and look at my quest book really quick for those. This I will deal with later. That's just hoppers, no big on deal on hoppers. Power transmission, no big deal here, and then we'd be out. That's something that I wanted to mention specifically. This is another thing too that is I should say here, is that the basic assembler is now provided as a assembler package. So let's check him out real quick, and then we can go look at filters. So basic assembler is going to be a bunch of stuff that looks like this. These are assembler cores, and assembler cores are something that are built like this. Notice these are all pretty much craftable to a point, but these are, just stuff that we'll have to look at as we go. I'm not going to be needing to worry about the basic assemblers because of the point in the pack where I'm at. You guys, it's going to be something you're going to have to pay attention to as far as, that kind of thing. So, filters, which actually I think I need to go look at filters. Let's go look at filters in the quest book here. So, science, regular respirator still here. This is the way this works. There's a new basic filtering frame that we need to go unlock so that we can look at it. So let's go look at the basic filtering frame. I probably have enough stuff sitting right here that the mob farm hands me to do these. So we'll go ahead and hand that dude in real quick. Okay, so this is going to get the basic filter frame, basic carbon filter. So early, I mean, you get into green, right? I believe you can get into this stuff fairly quickly. It's not the pollution pump. It's not the awesome stuff that exists as far as those go. But did you give me the thing? Hello? Claim. Back. Good. Okay. So that got us the basic filter frame, which a basic filter frame is iron bars and an iron plate. So let's go check that dude out real quick. Basic filter. I should have all of that stuff available. Bug report. Bug report. Okay, well, we're going to have to do this. Give me one of those, please. Click. Done. I will be reporting that shortly. Basic filter frame. Put him down, see what he looks like. Okay, so this should be the same thing as the other ones. This guy should only be able to hold a specific thing, so it should only be able to hold the carbon and the basic carbon filter parts. So let's go ahead and look at basic carbon filter parts. Let's see, filters. And the basic ones are going to be where are you guys? Basic, full. Basic, I should have this. Standard, yeah, there we go. Standard filter here. I said a lot of these are probably because of the fact I've already got a lot of this stuff unlocked. Where is the standard clean one? This one. How do you craft him? Standard filter. This holds 16 sulfur. Do not let that 16 scare you. 16 sulfur is a lot of sulfur blocks for that matter. 16 carbon. Again, carbon is going to be made as a steel plate, plastic sheet, and a gas filter. This is a there's got to be a cheaper one than that one. That. Plastic sheet. So you still have to get to, wow. Really? So it's not much more earlier than I thought it was. So you still have to go quite a ways before you can even get to these. Really? What does the regular ones take to break? Or take to make? Plastic. Interesting. I don't know. We'll have to fiddle with it. Wow. Full standard carbon filter. Full advanced, full standard carbon, basic carbon filter. That's what I was looking for. Okay. I'm losing my mind 1 second there for a little bit. So, okay, so that's pretty reasonably cheap. Okay, that's what I was thinking. I'm just sitting here going, wow, I'm definitely looking at the wrong thing. So anyhow, basic filters, these are basic carbon filters. Again, they hold 8 carbon, and they're pretty stinking cheap. You should have plenty of ability for this tough fabric stuff to be able to be made, and that's an iron ingot that's not expensive. Basic carbon filters hold 8 carbon, and I believe they don't have a use past that. So when you're done with them, I believe you throw them away. I think. Is there any kind of a use on this guy? No. Okay, that's no big deal. But again, like I said, do not let that 8 scare you. Do not let the 16s, do not let the numbers in these things scare you. 8 carbon is a lot of carbon, considering the fact that when you look at some of the, let's see, grab fast factory basics, let's do processing. Powered mining. These numbers are going to be pretty light duty down here, like say that 0.1 sulfur. 0.1 means that it takes 10 of this block to show up in order to be able to make 1 thing in one of these, or at least that's the way I figure the math works. So it's definitely going to be helpful very early game to try to collect things. These can be put on top of chimneys. So if I had a chimney sitting here, we'll grab that stone brick chimney. You can, braking's a little slow on them, but you can take a machine, like say, let's go look at, what's this? Let me see, where's the power block on this one? Power block is on top. So like this, the electric furnace that I'm using for this kind of a process here, the machines, the majority of the modular machines are going to emit pollution from the power block. So what you can do is you can put a chimney on the power block, and you can take your filter frame. I don't want that. Where did I get all the diorite from? You can put a filter on top of that, and you put the filter material inside the filter, and then this will collect whatever comes out of this machine. So miners, which we can run over here and take a look at real quick. I've already set these guys up because I had to. They were making an absolute mess, even though they're not running. So what you can do is you can take a chimney and attach it to the side of any of the miners, either of the miners, and it will collect the pollution from said miner into a chimney and then direct it up into a filter. So as we can see, I've already got a couple of the filters set up here. I have one set up for sulfur and one set up for carbon filter because they made a mess, especially the one. These are the only two filters that I have left. That one over there and this one over here. And I'm probably going to be getting rid of this little setup eventually as it is. We're probably going to be moving this out of this area because, again, we're capturing as much of the pollution as we can and moving it over there. So there's no point in me having two filters over here doing absolutely nothing. There's a couple of filters. Let's see, can I do this? Way over there, and those guys are doing coal for me for coal liquefaction and the plastic creation over in the oil processing system. So I don't have to worry about it. So I'm not going to be going through the process of automating these things. I'm going to make a few of them and do what I need to do. And I will believe that I just saw pollution rise up in one of those. I might have to watch that back, but I think I just saw pollution rise up in that. And both of these guys are off. They don't have any things in them. They're not doing anything. There's nothing to mine in these chunks. Okay, whatever. I'll have to look back at that. So, on to, and I guess I don't need you anymore. You can go away. Thank you. I wonder about the cost on that. I may have to look at that. I may have to look at the cost on those because all of these have EMC as far as things go, at least at this point. It sounds a little cheap to me. Maybe I need to look at that. But yes, this is definitely going to be something we're going to have to report because that is going to cause problems quickly. Anyhow, the other filter frame as we knew, filter frame, advanced filter frame. These are going to require plastic sheets, which means blue research. So it's going to be a little while before you get to these. And I believe you have to have these in order to have the advanced sulfur filter systems or the advanced carbon filter systems put in them. This is going to require some titanium plate and carbon fibers. Ouch, kind of thing. So this is going to be gated quite a ways down for that matter because you have to get clear to carbon fibers and titanium, which is going to be where? I thought it was right here. This has changed too. Holy cow. Okay, whatever. I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to spend all my days looking at this thing. So we should be okay as far as this goes. I'm going to put this. Oh, I know where that came from. I was cleaning things up. Filters away, stone brick chimneys. Again, that's going to be a very handy thing because that means building inside buildings very early is going to be something you can do. So that means things like factory buildings, things like what we're doing here is completely doable very early game. You just have to babysit your filters, which is, you know, I guess it's a welcome change on that end of it because early game was pretty rough as far as I'm concerned. On to the next major thing I want to look at today, and that is going to be, I want to look at the, what was it, industrial renewal. Now, industrial renewal is going to give us a bunch of really cool little other things that you can use to build with, and it also gives you the first trash can. Trash cans are cheap. Hoppers, lava buckets, cactus, steel. So I've already crafted one of those up. They have no interface, and I can't figure out why it says it wants energy. It doesn't take any energy to work with. You just, pipe in whatever you want to get rid of. So this, thank you for that. So that's a wonderful thing. Next thing, industrial. This also gives us another type of fluid capabilities platform. This is cool. I'm gonna have to play with these. It also gives us another type of a fluid capability, which is another type of fluid storage. This recipe does not work. This recipe does. It's a good way of getting rid of a whole bunch of various things. So I believe this holds 16 buckets and is automatable. It doesn't have an input or an output. I've played with it a little bit because I've already crafted the let me see. I love it. People, leave me alone. Oh, let's see. Industrial. Okay. Industrial. The thing that I am the most interested in at this point is the fluid tank cart. Now, there is a log cart that I'm assuming hauls logs. There's a passenger cart that I'm assuming does a few things. And there is a cargo cart, which I'm guessing is just a modified version of the regular thing. We're going to be playing with these in an update, probably. I'm just going to have a little bit of fun with it. The interesting thing, again, like I said, is this fluid tank cart, which is just a flat cart and a bunch of barrels on top of it, is a tank, is a thing, is a cool thing. So like I said, already pre-crafted a couple of them up, and the rails I really like because they're really cool. So we'll put a couple of rails down. That looks magnificent. Now, here is something that's even cooler. This guy right here is just awesome. It's just, that means I can put a kart engine on this. I don't even, do I even have a kart engine anymore? I may have one in this box. Rail network connector. I don't think I have a single kart engine left. Well, I'm going to need that guy. Kart engine. Let's see. Kart engine is that. Thank you. Again, I don't really use these too much anymore because of the fact that we've got quantum entangle porters, and honestly, that kind of bothers me. So, click. It does work. Haha, awesome. So, this is now a tank car, and supposedly, if I put another one of these down, where's my rails? I think I can put those on top of that, right? Okay. If we take one of these flat carts that I should have in here, and I just want to play with this really quickly, and I need the wrench. How much is the wrench? The wrench is, that's a really familiar, that's the same. That's okay. That's steel though. Never mind. Okay. I'm assuming what I'm supposed to do is I can take this guy and I can do that with it. So now I can have a train. Yes, there's no locomotive on the front of it, but now I can have a train of tank cars if I want to, hauling things around, or the other cars that I have hanging things around. Can I break you, please, without making a mess? Come on, let go. At industrial. What does this one look like? This is a cargo cart with a chest on it. Thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and make the log cart. Why not? What is that? That's 2 steel rods. Let's get a couple of steel rods made. Just do like that many of them. Which that'll take a second. There we go. Cool. Down. I'm wondering, this is just a for giggles kind of thing here. I'm going to put you down, and I'm going to put you down, so I can stack. Seriously? And it has to have logs in it. Really cool. How many stacks? What does it look like? Holy cow. So then this guy, again, so this may end up being something that just because of the usage of it, it's a little bit more expensive than a regular minecart, but it looks so much better. I mean, just I'm excited. I hate to say it, as late game as I am right now, this is exciting to me. So, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of clean up a few more of the things around here real quick, and we will get back. I'm gonna kind of close a few things up here, and then we'll talk in just a second, guys. Alrighty, so I guess with all of that said, we got a few things cleaned up. This is going to be kind of one of those episodes where we're just going to sit here and talk about a few things and not do a whole heck of a lot because things change and I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to make things work. I did want to mention the changes on the pollutant pumps, pollutant pipes kind of things because I believe now I can punch this thing and it won't break, which is absolutely wonderful. And if I go downstairs into the little depths of my greenhouse where the first two available ones are at, I can punch it and nothing happens. That is beautiful. So awesome. That I don't know how many of these I've lost doing that accidentally. So this process here, so glad I put it in now because then I don't have to worry about playing around with all of the filters. I don't have to worry about playing around with all of the rest of the stuff. So it just keeps working and we keep processing our various things. Ding ding. Hello, emails. Go back upstairs. Gonna go over here and we're gonna go check our other things. This is still functional, although this is broken. And I have plans for how I'm going to make this work. And what we're going to have to do probably is invest in either a way to clean said filters, because there are going to be some of these that I'm going to have to clean. So this advanced filter, I can clean it with water in a chemical plant to get a full bucket, which is pretty awesome, of sulfuric acid. So we may end up having to come up with a system in here for one of these, since I do have the water and I do have the other things in here. The only problem is that's going to require me to make some more storage of this. And the advanced, let's see, advanced carbon filters, I believe the other ones are the same way too. Let's see, where is this? Standard, full standard carbon filter can be cleaned same way here. So that's pretty stinking good considering. So carbon filters, they can be cleaned in a chemical plant with water and you get liquefacted coal. And for those of you that don't know, you take liquefacted coal and run it through a distillation tower. I wanted to call it a distillery and it's not. Thanks. I'm seeing inconsistencies so far with the mob spawns. Yeah, it's dark in here. Yeah, it's covered by lanterns. So, not really worried about it, but it is kind of annoying a little bit, just a little bit. Not a big problem really, but whatever. As far as like I said, is the filters that whatever you get the liquefacted coal, you run it through a distillation tower like I have on the area over here, which is what I'm doing in this process right here, where these guys right here are making liquefacted coal, and it's being pumped into this distillation tower that then does make the the lubricant, the gasoline, and the diesel. So that's what you can do with it if you're continuously having to clean a lot of carbon filters. So some odd reason I don't have any right now. Missing fluid input. What fluid input are we missing? Oh. Oh. Okay. Well, that's all right, I suppose. No big deal. Not doing anything right now as it is. So yeah, that's what you end up doing with it. But like with the fluid carts, and this is probably what we're going to be doing next episode, is we're going to be replacing this mess right here. All of this gobbledygook mess of me having to screw around with placing down tanks and picking them back up and putting them in a chest minecart. I can get rid of all of this, which means I may continue using rails to move some of the fluids around like I have been doing. I've been contemplating using the quantum entangle porters for this process here, and I'm kind of on the fence about it because I'm enjoying playing with whatnot a little bit with rails. So I don't see why we can't at least try that next episode so that it's something that you guys can be aware of and use, because it is a technology that you're going to need. And it's something that I wish we had a really long time ago. I wouldn't have had to sit down and figure this mess out. Now, as far as I know, and I haven't gotten to play with it yet, I'm going to assume that those tank carts will not hold the same amount of fluids that I'm currently moving with my current system, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay as long as it works, because right now we're hauling, I forget, it's 10 metal barrels that hold 12 buckets each, so that's quite a decent amount of fluid. And I don't know how much they hold, but I guess we're going to go ahead and figure that out in the next episode or two, depending on when we get to that point. And these holes, like I said, these holes are from the mobs that are spawning in a room that is 100% covered, again, by powered lanterns. So either the zombies are bypassing the powered lantern spawn thing again, or something else. I don't know. So, but they're spawning in this building, and they're spawning else around the base. So no big deal. We'll just sort that out as the time comes. So supposedly this has been changed too. Charcoal smelt 6 items. Ew. Okay, well, that's a whole nother reason why I use charcoal blocks. So charcoal blocks, smelts, 150 seconds. So that's fine. That works. Still a little cheaper. Still a little cheaper than coal to make, and not nearly as good, but that's okay. So I guess, guys, that's the update. That's the thing. We're not going to do anything else other than discuss and talk about that stuff. I'm going to have to start looking around at what we're going to do for changes. We're going to have to definitely upgrade and get the remove this thing and build some more assemblers so that we can get these recipes sorted, because otherwise we can't do most of the science. So I am going to call it there, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy. Bye.